The Dead Sea, a natural wonder and popular tourist destination for centuries, has experienced a significant drying up. While this may appear to be a natural geological event, it has become a cause for concern in the region due to alarming developments that are puzzling scientists. Our investigation will delve into the mysterious occurrences that now pose a threat to the safety of the area and explore their potential implications for the rest of the world. The Dead Sea, located at the Earth's lowest point, is slowly shrinking under the scorching Middle Eastern sun. This poses a long-term challenge for those living on its borders, as ensuring sufficient water supply to maintain the sea's existence is becoming increasingly difficult. The unique characteristics of the Dead Sea are widely known, including its saltiness, which makes it impossible to sink in. Its high mineral content also gives it a peculiar texture, similar to a mixture of olive oil and sand. For decades, visitors to the Holy Land, or Jordan, have taken photos of themselves sitting upright on the water surface, often reading newspapers to highlight the sea's incredible properties. The Dead Sea, located in a region with arid climate and a persistent water deficit, is a distinctive ecosystem that serves as a sensitive barometer of the environment's condition. While some headlines suggest that the Dead Sea is disappearing, this claim is not entirely accurate. As the sea level drops, the salt concentration and density increase, eventually reaching an equilibrium point where the rate of evaporation balances out. This may result in a significant shrinkage of the Dead Sea, but it will not disappear completely. Nonetheless, the Dead Sea is shrinking rapidly, with its surface level dropping by over a meter per year. Because the surface of the Dead Sea is presently 420 meters below sea level, it implies that the world's lowest point is redefined every year. The deepness of the sea is such that traveling on the road that curves down to the shoreline causes your ears to pop, similar to what happens when an airplane descends. The Dead Sea's panoramas have a spectacular, almost lunar quality to them. Imagine the Grand Canyon with Lake Como nestled in its depths. Even though the ancients were not sure what made the location unique, they recognized that there was something special about it. As per the ancient tale, Cleopatra incorporated regional goods into her beauty regimen, including almond extract and donkey's milk. Although such narratives are widespread in the Middle East, King Herod, who had a winter palace nearby, likely visited the region for health reasons. However, his tainted historical image diminishes his significance as a celebrity endorsement in the classical world. Nevertheless, when the Romans governed the Middle East, they maintained strict military control over the highways around the Dead Sea due to its abundant salt reserves, a commodity so valuable at the time that it was used as currency. Additionally, the health benefits associated with the Dead Sea seem to be genuine. The barometric pressure below sea level is notably beneficial for asthmatics as it provides favorable air conditions. Individuals with severe skin disorders like psoriasis appear to benefit from mineral-rich water, calming mud, and bright sunlight. Consequently, many health agencies and organizations in various countries sponsor therapeutic travel for individuals with this disease. Despite the Dead Sea's ongoing depletion and transformation, it remains economically valuable. Tourists can visit resorts in either Jordan or Israel, and both countries export cosmetic products made in the region. Given that a section of the shoreline falls under Israeli control in the West Bank, it is likely that Palestinians will profit from the sea's distinctive features in the future. Nevertheless, the decline in water level is astounding. During World War I, British engineers marked the water level on rocks in Iraq. A century later, the etched initials are still visible on a completely dry rock. To access the present water level, visitors must descend the rocks across a busy main road, navigate through marshy vegetation, and traverse a vast, flat expanse. The water has receded about 2 kilometers, causing a significant issue for the town of Ein Gedi, located a few kilometers up the shore. When the main building was constructed in the late 1980s, the waves would lap up against its walls. The resort has resorted to buying a unique railway that utilizes a tractor to drag passengers down a 2-kilometer journey to the water's edge. Nir Venger, the overseer of Ein Gedi's tourist operations, finds the rapid changes unsettling. Nir Venger grew up on the Dead Sea and has seen the rate of change firsthand. He explains that the sea used to be where he stood when he was 18. The resort spends $500,000 a year to chase the sea with a tractor, gasoline, and employees. Nirvanjur finds it sad that he has to watch his home landscape deteriorate. He knows that when he leaves it to his children and grandchildren, it won't be the same as what he grew up with. When constructing a new house, my wife asked if I wanted a view of the sea, but I declined. I suggested we build it with a view of the mountains instead because they stay put, whereas the sea moves. Despite the odd multi-story concrete hotel, the Dead Sea's allure is easy to understand with its peculiar chemistry and soaring camel-color mountains that Herod and Cleopatra would still recognize. To a geologist, however, the Dead Sea is merely the final lake of the Jordan River, its terminus. At one end of the river, water flows in but does not flow out at the other end. Instead, it remains stagnant and evaporates. While it is an overstatement to suggest that the Dead Sea is dying, this is an accurate description of the river that feeds it. During the brief rainy season, true flash floods occur, sending water rushing through the wadis and stone inlets. However, for most of the year, these areas are dry, and the river itself is barely more than a trickle. In some parts of Israel and the occupied West Bank, the river can be crossed on foot during the dry season. Christ was baptized in the Jordan, one of the most important ancient waterways. Even now, it overflows during wet winters. For religious and scientific grounds, the U.S. dispatched a naval mission to Jordan in 1847. William F. Lynch, the brave officer who discovered the Dead Seas below sea level, led the operation. Lynch's experiences are interesting, but his portrayal of the region's indigenous inhabitants may offend 21st century sensitivities. Lynch's description of the river's 5-meter waterfalls and rapids is interesting. He worries about the expedition's boats. We came to a standstill at the remnants of an old bridge, which had become an impediment over which the foamy river poured like a mountain torrent. He writes, 80 years later, a Russian Zionist engineer called Pinchos Rudenberg built a hydroelectric power station in a remote stretch of the Jordan River, which was roughly 30 yards wide. The power station's abandoned buildings exist amid a parched environment. Recently, the region has changed significantly. The Jordan River's water flow has varied despite the landscape's stability. Israel controls water flow into the Jordan by damming the southern Sea of Galilee. Despite the Israeli government's efforts to increase freshwater production through Mediterranean desalination plants from the Jordan Valley system began in the 1950s, causing problems for farmers in Jordan and the Palestinian West Bank who depend on it for their crops and families. Israel also has issues. The Jordan River also depends on Syria's Yarmouk River for water, despite its financial and technological resources. Syria has built approximately 40 dams to regulate water in Yarmouk, which fed Jordan during the previous 30 years. Some Jordanians think that Syria built these dams in reaction to the 1994 Israel-Jordan peace accord, while others think it was to suit its own water demands. The Jordan River loses water, a major loss for a once powerful river. The Dead Sea, between Jordan and Israel, is one of the world's saltiest water bodies due to its high salt and mineral content. However, climate change, decreasing Jordan River water flow, and human activities like mining and tourism are diminishing the Dead Sea. The ecology, including flora and animals, and local populations that depend on the Dead Sea, would be devastated if it dried up. Bacteria, algae, and halophytic plants that cannot survive in fresh water thrive in the sea's extreme salinity. They would lose their homes and perhaps die out if the oceans disappeared. Local populations also use the Dead Sea for irrigation. The sea drying up would hurt the local economy and deprive residents of a vital income. The Dead Sea drying up would also harm the ecology. Without the sea, pollution and other substances might leak into the ecosystem. The ecology, local populations, and the unique ecosystem created by the Dead Sea's high salt content would suffer if it disappeared. The Red Sea Dead Sea Water Conveyance proposal aims to solve the issue. This initiative aims to restore the Dead Sea by transporting water from the Red Sea. However, its practicality and usefulness are still debated. The Dead Sea's situation highlights the fragility of Earth's ecosystems and the damage humans may do. We must emphasize sustainability and preserve our planet's natural wonders as we advance.